and recycle it through our homes and through our lives based upon education, something that has been denied us till this day, right? They don't want you to read and write because they want your mind dark. And how do they keep you today from not being able to read and write? By making sure your children are dysfunctional, they drugged up, and the turnover rate is so high that they're not getting a good education. And because they've destroyed the family structure, you got one person hustling to try to take care of everything. Their mind ain't right. They're in a state of disrepair and insanity. So now what you've done, you foster a state of dysfunction, a state of dysfunction. So now you can get that prison industrial complex going perpetually. Perpetual slavery. That's what the objective was in the beginning, to make you slave forever. Because they were our slave for thousands of years. They don't want you to know that. They were in bondage for thousands of years. But what we have to do now is create a different paradigm. Say, wait a minute, we're not trying to enslave nobody. Stop trying to enslave us. We don't want to enslave you. We just want to live in peace. The world is closer now. We want to be able to enjoy different cultures. Let's quit destroying each other, right? Now in South America with Nicaragua, now they got these big, people are fleeing the country and so forth because our policies, destroying instead of building. You want to know why the borders and stuff are, these people fleeing their countries. And South America is right down the street. Okay, so let's look at this thing balanced. We can blame white supremacy, the structures and so forth. That may have been the initial cause of it in this country and so forth. But we have a situation where we have black on black crime, black men killing black men, black genocide. I remember when I was growing up, we had a screen door that was, the doors, we didn't lock the doors at nighttime. We'd go to sleep at night and not even lock the doors. But when these drug scores came and these criminal, then you had to put triple bolts on the door. So just because you're poor doesn't mean you have to be criminals and killing each other. The post-traumatic slave syndrome, the Stockholm syndrome. I have a sermon on that one that I did. I'll show that with you. Economic deprivation. Let me tell you about a rat in a cage, right? They did a study. You might already know this. You got a rat. You got rats in the cage. And you're feeding the instance. You got rats in a cage. Make sure they got plenty of food and so forth like that. Now, when they have the food and the environment, they are very nurturing, loving, right? Loving. It's it's a home. It's a nice environment. They just observe them, but then they took the food away, which is cruel and inhumane in itself. They took the food away, and their whole behavior changed. These same nurturing parents began to eat their young. And then when the young are gone, they start attacking each other, violently, and killing each other. We're like rats in a cage. They took away the opportunity and the jobs. Because remember that the Italians, I think I'll bring this up a little later. You had the Italians, you had the Jews, and they had, what is the other racial group that was there? And they split up you had the Irish, you had the Italians and the Jews, right? Because they used to do this violence thing and crime, and they had the prohibitions, and they used to murder, blood running on the streets and so forth like that. So what the European society did was make them honorary white people, right? So they gave the Irish the police department, they gave the Italians the fire department, they gave the Jews the civics courthouse and the judges. That's why you got all these judges, Jewish judges on the bench. And it's pretty much the same today, starting to break down and so forth. But what did they give black folks? They gave us the prison industrial complex, right? Because we weren't thinking. We weren't organized. We're still not organized. So we have to fix this. And it's a fixable situation. It's a hill that seems insurmountable. But if we break the back of this thing, right, we can become very wealthy. People won't try to leave the hood. They try to come back to just like they're trying to do now, right? But we don't have the resources to maintain or the thought process how to maintain it properly. See, and it's a terrible thing. But we teach you how to do that. I talked to one gentleman the other day during the housing crisis. He said, "Man, I had 4 houses and I lost all 4 of my houses during the economic crisis." He said, "That's why I went to school to get my master's degree." I said, "That's good." But I said, "But bro, a master's degree is not going to teach you how to keep those 4 houses. You don't even go into information like that. Even with a finance degree. The information I'm teaching you in finance and economics, you don't learn that in school. You don't learn that in school. This is life. I teach you about life. Right? So we're like rats in a cage. And in order for, as an emergency situation, in order for us to take back these streets, first thing they did was they took all the men away. But the men were engaging, too many of them were engaging in inappropriate type behavior. But our men, the men, sound-minded men, we have to take back the streets. We have to literally take back the streets. Literally take back the streets. I'm looking at it, I got it right here. In 1940, these groups, Irish, Italians, and Jews, were made honorary white folks. That's how that violence stopped. Fighting over turf, territory, and drugs, which they don't own. So they took away the factories, jobs, somebody taking care of you. That's what the government has done. All over the world, taking care of the people. The people never allowed to grow and mature. Because how did the United States originally, pioneers, people coming together by necessity because they had to survive? That's gone. So unless you get a job or a government handout, you don't know how to survive. Your survival tactic is a strategy that they've used all over the planet, especially when they went into Africa. What did they do? Take all the men away. Now, these men, for thousands of years, knew how to live off the land. They knew how to roam. They know how to plant. They know how to rotate crops. All these type of things. But when they came in and took the men away, and you had no one to train the children and provide for the women, and then what did they replace it with? These dollar bill things. You have no choice. So now you have to, if you want to live, you got to get the dollar bill things. But now we've evolved. We should have evolved beyond that so we can understand that you have 2 households. Hopefully, we want to get back to that. We want to rebuild our families. People got these 3 and 4 jobs. Say, listen, that's a waste. That is not. If you got 3 or 4 jobs, 2, 3 jobs in the beginning, use that to pay off your bills. Use that to pay off your bills. But that's not a long-term strategy. That's a short-term strategy. Now start a business on the side. You're married. One of the parents, male, might want to stay home and nurture the children. Because children are an investment. They must be nurtured. They must be structured and disciplined and guided. You just can't let them roam loose because then they won't be raised. Just like a garden. If you don't till it, and they're going to just grow. There'll be weeds everywhere, choking off the plant, the food source. That's why we have black on black crime, the rat in the cage syndrome. So we have to get to the point where we're strong enough and brave enough to take back our homes, brothers, and be able to feed our family. And we do that by working together. And the sisters can be a great help of that because women have so much power, but they don't utilize it properly. So much power to influence the brother. So much power to empower him, to make him feel invincible, whether he got a dime in his pocket or not. But we do the complete opposite. We beat them down and tell them they ain't got nothing. They ain't nothing because they don't have something that's been deliberately taken from them and deprived from them so they can get the results that they're exactly getting, destruction at the home front. Because if a man can't take care of his kids, provide, now listen, he's going to leave. Not everybody is strong enough to make it through. And if they are strong enough in the short term, they're going to end up dying off quicker so they can get some peace. So we have to stop. We have to love each other. We have to build each other. We have to work together. Use that power that God has given you to build instead of destroying. In our talks, a lot of people talk about, oh, prosperity preachers, prosperity. Like, wait a minute, you're a prosperity preacher. You're passing that tray 5 times on the service, right? And then you send the people out in the wilderness with nothing. This is a two-way transaction. Fair exchange is not robbery. I'm blessing and empowering. Once you look through the material, look through the website, that you are the building fund. Invest in yourself. Invest in your mind. Invest in those around you so you can reap a harvest in your life. It's basic stuff. We must talk economic opportunity. We must demand it. Start working together. Just 10% of your time, talents, and treasures, invest in yourself. We must create an opportunity for Black men to provide for their family. Any man needs the opportunity to feed their family. If a man can't feed his family, all bets are off. And we're talking about gentrification in our communities, right? Our Black bourgeoisie, if you will, created the means for white people to come back into the community. How? Reverend, how can that be done? Into the city. Because when the suburbs, what did they do? They followed the white people out to the suburbs, right? They created this thing. And when I was growing up, the hood was the best place to be. That's why they took everything out. They stripped it. They marketed everything. And we the only person that didn't see the wealth, the resources that's around us. First, they took us from our land, Africa. Not everybody came from Africa. The majority of us already here, right? They took our land, but the wealth is still in us. The wealth is still in us, but we don't recognize that. So we allow an outside force to beat us down mentally, so we don't understand the power that God has blessed us and bestowed us and the talent. We should, come on now, quit tripping. Then we follow them out, and what happens when we follow them out? The resources, positive role models. A kid can see this person getting up every morning going to work, and they working. They can buy some stuff. They can fix their house. They have cars. The kids look good. So all they have is gangbangers, thugs, drug dealers with nice cars. They got all the women for some reason, right? You see what happened to them. Go to jail, get shot up. But there's no role model. There's no resource. Business is shut down. Because now we don't want to shop in the community. We want to go outside the neighborhood because they got better, instead of demanding the same. So that's how. So in the short term, you want to know, when you do statistics, why the numbers are at the top, especially the Asians are at the top, right? We go Chinese food, we go buy all their stuff at night. On Fridays, we lining up. And every other group, I know in Cleveland where I come from and stuff, I went on vacation on Fridays, that liquor store, standing room only, flying out and buying drugs and that liquor and all that kind of stuff. So we do this to ourselves. So we want a neighborhood. You go to the neighborhood, you got nice homes, you got pools, swimming pools. Nobody trying to break in your home because everybody got money. But let's take money out the equation. And religion is not the lick, because religion, and they, like I said, they want your back bent and your head bowed. So you can be a good serf, a good peasant, a good slave. And the government is taking usurp the authority that you should have. Because the original Department of Housing, Education, and Welfare is the home. They destroyed that. We destroyed that. family.